You know, there's not many clubs that have a richer history than Benfica. Two-time European champions in the past, Benfica's identity is blessed with many moments of greatness, which peaked in the early 60s by winning the European Cup twice, and not to mention back-to-back. Sure, they're not exactly the favorites to win the Champions League at the moment, but no one was surprised when they made it to the Europa League final in 2013. And to no one's surprise, they were back in the Europa League final in the season after as well. That being said, they lost both of the finals, but not just these two finals. Benfica also lost 6 more European finals before that as well. But according to many, the result was decided before the kickoff, a very long time before the kickoff. In fact, it was decided way back in 1962. And no, we're not talking about any sort of match fixing. In fact, we're gonna blame the curse of Bela Guttmann for this continued hard luck. In what remains to be football's most famous curse, the Benfica manager of the time said these famous words after leaving the club. Not in 100 years from now will Benfica ever be European champions again. Damn son, that's rough. Now, whether you believe in a curse in the 21st century or not, it actually came true. Well, at least so far. Just a season after, Benfica lost their first European final after Guttmann's departure to AC Milan. And they would go on to lose 7 more European finals by the time of making this video. But the question is, what's the story behind the curse of Benfica? And how much of Benfica's lack of success in Europe can be blamed on this curse? Well, stick around to find out, because we're gonna talk about football's most famous curse. Right, so let's go all the way back to the late 50s. The European club football was still dominated by Real Madrid, who won the first 5 European Cups in a row. But that wouldn't be for long, as there was a new powerhouse in town. Enter Benfica. In the 1960-61 tournament, Benfica beat Barcelona in the final to taste their first ever European trophy. This was a big deal for them, as Benfica were the champions of Europe after breaking the monopoly of Real Madrid, who won it 5 times in a row. And as if it wasn't enough, to add more salt to the wound, Real Madrid was knocked out by their arch rivals Barcelona in that season. So the following year, Real Madrid were out for blood. More motivated than ever to regain their crown back, Real Madrid made it to the final to face the reigning champions, Benfica. That being said, Benfica beat their opponents in the final to remain as the best team in Europe. Things really couldn't be better for the club at this time. Times were really good for Benfica. Not only they were the champions of Europe, but they managed to defend their titles as well. This is where you'd be forgiven to think that Benfica was about to cement a period of domination similar to the one enjoyed by Real Madrid. With the talents of Eusebio and other caliber of talented players, Benfica was very much the club of the moment. But this is where things started to go wrong for Benfica, and this is where our story takes place. You see, behind the insanely talented team of Benfica was a manager who joined them from arch rivals Porto. After winning the league title, Bela Guttmann led Benfica to their first European trophy. This was a glorious period for Benfica. Let me tell you something interesting. Bela Guttmann managed 18 different clubs before Benfica, never staying anywhere for more than 2 seasons. This wasn't an accident. In fact, he actually believed that success only had a 2-season window at any given club. Mourinho, are you listening? In Bela Guttmann's words, the 3rd season is always fatal. That being said, he broke his own golden rule by staying at Benfica for a 3rd season and won another European title in his 3rd season at the club. It was, however, his last season. After beating Real Madrid to win their 2nd European title in a row, it wasn't exactly unreasonable to think of a pay raise from the club. Details are a bit blurry on what went on, but the most popular version of the story is that he met the club director after the game for a pay increase. The request was flatly denied. The club believed that the existing contract should stand and be honored by both parties. Seeing this, he decided that he should therefore quit his job. But before he left Benfica, he made a statement that became infamous in the history of Benfica and European football as a whole. Not in 100 years from now will Benfica ever be European champions again. It's still debatable on whether the statement was intended as a curse or just a prediction, but it became a part of the football folklore as a curse of Benfica. As of today, we're decades on from that day and still counting. If it was a curse, I gotta say it's really proving to be effective. But it would be interesting to see what happened to Benfica after the curse of Bela Guttmann. And before we talk about what happened to Benfica after Guttmann's curse, a lot of time goes into making these videos. So your like and comments really mean a lot to me, and it really helps out the YouTube algorithm as well, as this is a young channel. So, what exactly happened to Benfica after Bela Guttmann? Well, they didn't have to wait too long to see themselves in another European final. Literally the season after Guttmann's departure, Benfica was gonna show everyone that they didn't really need Guttmann, and they were gonna win their third European Cup in a row. And... well, yeah, that happened. But not only that, they would go on to lose 4 more finals in the European Cup and 3 more finals in the UEFA Cup, or the Europa League, whatever you want to call it. Legend has it that before the 1990 European Cup final, played in Vienna, where Guttmann was buried, Eusebio prayed at his grave and asked for the curse to be broken. Which, I don't know how it went, but I'm pretty sure it went something like, please, no, please, no, please, no. Okay. And it's safe to say that it didn't really work, because Milan beat Benfica 1-0 at that final. Now, I personally don't really believe in a curse, let alone in this specific one. But the nature of these losses doesn't really help to erase this cloud either, as some of these finals were lost on extra times, penalties, or just a last-minute goal. So you can argue whether Bela Guttmann really holds a grudge to this day, or was it just a matter of team quality that let them down? And as for Guttmann himself, he won multiple trophies in his career and was one of the pioneers of tactical changes within his era. But his most famous legacy remains those words that he said after leaving Benfica. Whatever the validity of such a curse, it remains the case that Benfica have failed to win a European trophy since the curse, with his fatal words still forming a dark cloud hanging over Benfica anytime they reach a European final. By the way, when I was researching this, I came up with something quite interesting that often gets left out anytime we talk about the curse of Guttmann. That Guttmann actually returned to Benfica for a season 3 years after his departure, but didn't really win anything, let alone a European trophy. I guess even Guttmann himself couldn't break his own curse. So I guess the moral of the story is that be careful what you wish for. So, what do you think about the curse of Benfica? Personally, I've always had a soft spot for Benfica, a club of immense tradition and identity. Honestly, if I was Portuguese, I could really see myself being a Benfica fan, but my heart chose Milan, and at the end of the day, the heart wants what it wants. I really wish to see them do well, and hell, even break the curse once and for all. By the way, on a separate note, I just wanted to say that I read all your comments and it's been mostly positive. So I wanted to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to all of you, especially some of you that comment regularly. It really means a lot to me. By the way, I recently launched an Instagram account as well, where I put up some of these sketches over there. It will mean a lot to me to see you guys on Instagram as well. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Is there a football story that you'd like me to cover in a video? Let me know in the comment section below, but be nice to each other. I'm Football Drawn, and I like to tell football stories with comic and drawings. If you enjoyed this video, check out the rest of the channel as well.